Since I couldn't think of a vlog to do, I've decided to go ahead and do my Tales of the Dead Part 4. This one has to do with the experiences I've had in this house, which are not actually very much. I frequently mention on my Facebook about the invisible thing that lives in my house. As I said in a previous video, I get the impression that it's a masculine energy. I don't have any reason other than my feelings to think that. But let me tell you what I know it's not. It is not a human spirit, because this house was built not too long before we moved into it, and nobody died here. It's not attached, it's not a human spirit attached to the land, because it has never done anything outside. Now, I do believe in, how do I put this? Non-human entities that coexist with us on the planet that we just can't see. In my belief, they're actually the true indigenous creatures to this planet, and we kind of sometimes we pass into each other's vibrational field, but it doesn't happen very often. Anyway, I think that's what Mr. Invisible is. Now, what Mr. Invisible likes to do the most is pace up and down the main hallway upstairs. Thankfully, he's not a heavy-footed individual, so it's not like stomp, 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 stomp. It's just, you know, you can hear it. You can hear back and forth and back and forth. In fact, as I think about it, I don't think I've had any experiences with Mr. Invisible on the lower part of the house. That's interesting. So, yes, he occasionally goes into the guest room, occasionally goes into my office, but he's mostly in the hallway, and he will come into the master bedroom. And what's interesting is, of course, it doesn't matter if the door's shut or locked or anything. He just likes to come in and check things out. I'm sure you've been in bed before with your back to the door and somebody's come in, and even though they haven't made any noise at all, you know that someone is there. You feel a presence of somebody. So that's how I usually know he's in the room, and he'll usually come in and hang out for a little while and then leave. One of the things that he has done most frequently, and this is usually when I'm trapped in a nightmare, it's kind of lucid dreaming, but it's a nightmare. I know that I'm dreaming, but I can't wake up. And he'll go BAM! And slam down on the bottom of the bed, which wakes me up. And I always say thank you. And then the presence leaves. So maybe he's a dream guardian. I've never heard of such a thing, but hey, I'm a writer, I can make it up. And sometimes when I've been really, really sick and in bed, I felt the presence come in and then gently sit down on the corner of the bed of where I am. I sleep on the left side, so it's the left corner. And no, there's no depression that happens when he sits. There's no wrinkling of blankets. I just know that he sat down. So that's pretty much it as far as paranormal activity that I have experienced in this house. Now, my stepson has had other activity in this house. And from what he has told me, it was not good. I really don't remember any of the specifics because it was a while ago, But it basically made him afraid of this one particular room. But that's his story to tell, not mine. So, compared to the other houses I've lived in, this one's pretty quiet. I can tell you that when we were looking for houses, we found this one house that really we couldn't have dealt with for at least two reasons. Number one being that the house was actually pretty small and we would have had to have gotten rid of like over half of our shit, and the commute would have been too much. But for some reason I really liked this house, and I think it was because the rooms were designed very strangely. I mean, it was all like octagon corners and cubby holes in weird places. It was just I'd never seen a house designed like that. The main reason we didn't even investigate on purchasing this house is the land. Something was attached to that land, and it didn't want anybody there. Didn't have any experiences, I could just feel it. And I was walking around on the outside of this house, and it was like in a not heavily wooded place, but wooded, and I just felt this severe animosity just slamming against me. And I was like, okay, we're not moving here, that's for damn sure. And I mention that because it's the only time that's ever happened to me. I have been to places where I've been like, something's going on, this is kind of creepy. But I never felt like I needed to leave immediately. And I needed to leave immediately with that particular house. I'm kind of merging in a whole bunch of stories, but I have to because I don't know when I'll be able to do this again. As far as out of the ordinary experiences, I have had a lot of those, but they've had pretty much everything to do with me. I used to do tarot readings. I don't anymore because I freaked myself out and the people I was reading for, and I didn't like that feeling. I do not do palm reading anymore for the exact same reason. And I can tell you this story because I can't remember the name of the guy who was involved. It was the very last time I read palms, and I was kind of pushed into it. You know, somebody had found out that I knew how to do it, and they were just nagging me and nagging me and nagging me and nagging me, and I'm like, fine, give me your goddamn hand. And he handed me his hand. I said, okay, is this your dominant hand? No. I said, well, give me your... Never mind, just give them both. And I was looking at his hands, and I was like, what the hell? And of course he immediately goes, what? And I said, well, your lifeline just stops, moves over a little bit, and continues. What the hell happened to you 6 or 7 years ago? And this guy, who was a teenager at the time, and I knew nothing about, turned... I have never seen anyone actually turn white. But he lost all color and started getting teary-eyed. And he couldn't even talk to me. And I'm an idiot, and I go, no, really, what happened? Because you're living on borrowed time. You were supposed to have died 6, 7 years ago. But something happened and you didn't. So what the fuck is up? And he was crying and he couldn't talk to me. And then his friend tells me, well, Jane, about 7 years ago he was in a car accident, and his mother and his sister died, and he barely survived. Well, that made me feel like shit. And I said, I'm so sorry. But you asked me to do this, and I've never done it since, and I won't. I still have all my reference materials, I still have all my books, I still know how to do it. Not gonna do it, ever. I don't care who the fuck you are. I'm not reading your palms. You want your tarot cards read, I'll hand you a deck, and you can fucking do it yourself. Because that shit just, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it made me feel. Never, ever, ever. Never gonna do it again. Nope, nope, nope. Some things, you know, I don't have any problem with people doing it, but for me, it's not something I want to do. It's wrong for me. I just can't do it. And now Buster won't stop bothering me, so I guess I better go give her some attention. So there you go, a couple of stories for my Tales of the Dead Part 4. Say hi, Buster. Say bye, Buster. Okay, bye-bye.